relevancy and the importance, but it also is a kind of a plot device that there is a strange thing from this room. So we picked up a cowl of some type. Not actually. Oh, I remember what that's for. That we can't actually do anything with that. So I won't touch on it since there's nothing to be done. This is moving forward. We encounter this girl again, and more plot occurs. So one of the great things about this game is that all of the plot happens within the game itself. There's no a part where the scene changes, and you're always shown the character within the realm of the world. There's no significant break in the flow of the design and the visuals. So there's a significant conflict going on. So you can actually see from the two characters that are involved. We introduced to that lady with the green initially, who is a human, one of the only other humans we've encountered so far, and she is obviously having some sort of dispute with this other character, who, just by the design of it, obviously looks evil. So he has horns, he has dark red eyes, tattoos on his face, has a very menacing pose as well. So it kind of gives us the indication that this is a villain of some type, who is now a demon, as we discover from the dialogue of our character. We are unarmed, no chance against him. Much to his unluck, he will discover that we are not quite unarmed. Get a music change and a get ready, and then a health bar there at the bottom as you door. It becomes very obvious now that this is the first of our boss fights throughout this game. So, I'm using a bit of my prior experience with this game to defeat this encounter, since I have played this game before, as I mentioned, and let's focus a little bit. I do want to do well on this, so I can comment a little bit on one of the effects of doing well. I'm actually not doing as well as I want to, but we'll make do. Nope, didn't quite get as well as I want. So one of the things I was paying attention to as a little bit unobvious is down at the bottom. There's a timer and a letter. So when you defeat one of the enemies, the bosses in this game, you're actually rewarded on how well you do, which is something unique to this game that's different from other games of this genre. Like if you play a game like Metroid or a game like Castlevania or one of the other games I played on this series called Axiom Verge, boss fights are set pieces that you go through, and you just simply have to defeat them. Whereas on this game, when you defeat an enemy, a major enemy, it gives you a ranking, and based on how good your ranking is, you will actually be rewarded more or less from that boss fight. So I only got a C ranking because I screwed up in many locations. I didn't kill him fast enough, and I took a significant amount of damage. I didn't have a good combat score. So those three areas give you a different ranking, and I ended up with a relatively poor rating on this one. I'm somewhat unfamiliar with the way that this character's attacks work, so I'm going to attribute it to that. But if you get better rankings, you get a significantly more reward. So a C ranking plus 10 experience is really not that much. So we did really poor, didn't get a good reward. So it allows you as a character to, if you're trying to move through this game quickly and efficiently, if you do really well on boss fights, you get a progressively more powerful character for future boss fights as well, which gives you an opportunity likely to do better on those fights get better rankings, and then continue to grow in power. So it rewards you for being good, which is something that not a lot of games do. They simply, a lot of games more recently have taken kind of an approach of giving you just a static reward. You defeat this thing, you get reward A. Whereas this one, if you defeat this thing with varying degrees of efficiency, you will actually get a significantly different reward. And unfortunately, we are not given the satisfaction of defeating that guy, but it does introduce us to this new plot device, which are whatever that crazy-looking, really, really awesomely designed sprite there. We got kind of scorpion claws coming out of its rib cage, and 2 giant arms, and then little spindly legs, and just this static animation. There's only 6, maybe 7 individual frames of this, but it's just so smoothly animated. Like, it's given such character just by looking at this thing. And so that's one of the other things that is really amazing about this game, is just how stellar the art style is on every single model. Go ahead and keep moving. We escape from this room. We actually don't have any control there. So if you wanted to go back and fight those, well, the game says no. Don't think those things are following us. And get introduced to some more plot. These characters have more of an obvious introduction, given some backstory. One thing that is kind of a negative thing about this game is the lack of voice acting. And in games on a budget, you obviously can't voice act everything, but it does add to the amount of reading. So, fun thing, if you try and go back the way, you're like, oh, I want to go and fight those things, you can't, because it's dangerous. Your character will actually not go that way, even if you want. So, follow this person for now. A little... Oop. I need to use some health. Heal up a bit. There is a chest up there. So another place where the game shows you things slightly outside of your point of view that will reward you if you choose to go that way. But we're just going to keep moving. That is a... So as you collect a lot of these items as well, you're not immediately aware of what to do with them, which is potentially something that is... Whoa! So, level design there. You come through that door and you fall, because you're not expecting a gap immediately, but it's actually the right way to go. I saw a chest. Let me grab that real quick. Demon Ruby. Yet another thing where it's not obvious what... It's obvious that you are getting rewarded in some way by defeating things, collecting items, but it's not clear what those rewards, what impact those rewards have. Some more story. I don't want to spoil the story too much. The story is isn't the best story in this game. It's not a great. It's not a great selling point for that. The story is good. I'll put it that much. The story is good enough that I enjoyed it quite a bit. But it's, it's good. You should enjoy it if you decide to play this game. So, come through, and as we cross this guard, this is the first encounter we have with an NPC that is other than the one that we've been chasing after. And as we get close to it, we get the name of the NPC and a box. And if you try and attack him, instead of attacking, you get a dialogue. So now we are introduced to, just by having this guard here, you're introduced to the ability to interact with characters in this game. And so if you continue this way, you're introduced into Barbaroi, and it's his trade post. And now we can see, oh, there's something you can do with those items you've been collecting. Rough cloth, iron, demon rubies, stones, and you can trade in those items for items that will give you an obvious character boost. We can afford a Blessed Charm. That seems like a great idea since we were taking a little bit of damage from getting hit. And so we were introduced to a second way of advancing your character. Or I guess a third way. This first way was when we leveled up. Second way is when we picked up some armor that we chose to not equip just from the stats that were based on it, that were on it. And now the third way is when you collect items, you can trade them in for things that increase your character's power. So we're still following that lady, but there's all these people to talk to. I want to be a guard like my dad when I grow up. So they have several NPCs that are in here that don't actually do anything, but add a little bit of depth to the game. It indicates that there are, people living in this world. What pretty hair you have, like this little girl who likes our hairstyle. Fisherman Luke. It's amusing that you can be living under the ocean and there's waterfalls and fishing still. Kind of a cool way that they presented the world in this game. Ziggy's Adventure Outfitter. Hey, alright. Some new items, Spirit Shards required, and Mana Keystones, and Angel Sapphire. A lot of things that we've not yet seen, so... And this is yet another means so the game introduces you to things that are still to come. So when you're not surprised when those things happen. Keep following this person. Going over here to the right. Ruth. Junk Trader. So we can create a Rogue's Cowl, which we have one already, not sure what to do with it. We can create a Warrior's Plate, Magician Garb, Casey, there's a Mana Heater. This is an opportunity for the game to introduce that there are people in this world and give you kind of a stake in the success of your goals here. There are people at stake. There are people struggling and fighting down here. So there's this elder who is the leader. We're introduced to them. Again, this is kind of introducing the struggle. We're getting kind of more, now that we've gone through a lot of the gameplay, we're getting a very strong introduction to the actual story that's going on. That struggle between the humans, the angels, and the demons, and the people's lives being ripped apart by those. And then also that there are these other creatures that are not angels or demons. And also, if you remember, after that boss fight we encountered, there was another creature that was not angelic nor demonic, and everyone was confused as to what it was. So there is yet a fourth entity or group within this conflict. So one of the great things about this cutscene is we don't have the ability to move, but there's a treasure chest right there. So you've already encountered a bunch of treasure chests, and this one's a blue treasure chest. One of the things that they do in this game is they color the treasure chests differently based on what the contents are, and I know from experience that blue treasure chests are ones that provide you a key item that will help you progress through the game. So you get through this cutscene and you're like, I just want to open that treasure chest. It's right there. I want the loot. So I'll just run through this cutscene real quick. We get a wall hook. So we gained the wall jump skill, and we gained spare parts. So spare parts was one of the things described in that cutscene as being a relevant item, and if we continue this direction, that's the way to go. But since you had this massive amount of area over here, you might want to go back and explore some of it. So the wall jump ability, something we didn't have before. We were able to hold on to ledges and jump, but the wall jump allows you to jump off of flat walls and push you the opposite direction. So hey, we found another save point. can talk to some of these people. Don't have anything interesting to say, but we are also able to explore a little bit more and find that there is a treasure chest up there. But this is one of those treasure chests, I believe, that is actually outside of our reach. So, counter yet another instance of something that we are not able to immediately reach, but foreshadowing that maybe you'll get something else that will allow you to overcome that obstacle. One of the things I really like about games that require you to move is when the game also provides you a ability to actively move faster. So if you just have a lot of distance to cover, it's kind of boring just holding one direction until you get there. But if it gives you the ability to do something and make you feel like you're moving faster, then it kind of reduces the monotony of that travel by a little bit. So here we are given, this is the only way to go, or this is the way that we were told to go. There's no way to make it over this jump because we can't reach the ledge to grab it, but we were just given that wall hook and we were able to make that leap. Try to check what's over here. Don't want to go that way. So the game introduces you to the wall hook and then it gives you an opportunity to immediately use it, which is a great design because now, as a player, there are all these ideas like, oh, I now have the ability to reach things I previously didn't. So if you encounter a situation where you say, I want to get up there, now you have another tool in your belt where you can try and use it to cover that gap. They said there are angels around here. So previously we were fighting demons, and now we are introduced to a new enemy type. There is a floating angel up there, goddess of light. This person, we don't want to fight, but it seems like this angel has it out for us, so finish her off. So one of the things where I was just talking about, you know, if we have this wall jump, it's a thing that we can use to get places we couldn't previously. And here is another case where, oh, I want to get up there. That looks like there's something up there, maybe. But we don't have the ability to grab it. Maybe, if we wall jump, we will. And no, we're not quite high enough to reach that either. So I take back what I said. But, as a side note, it does indicate to you that there are still more things in the game that will allow you to overcome an obstacle like this. Given our first more things that just by exploring we discover a new thing in a kind of controlled environment. And that is really the highlight of one of the highlights of this game is how well they do introducing you to things slowly but surely without overwhelming you off the bat. Leave, yeah. Skip. I don't like fighting the airborne enemies because you end up falling a lot of times. See if I can get to a get to kind of a stopping point soon. So now we have a spot where we are. No. Here is a case where you are again. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about this game, to be fair, to be honest. At least in the first hour. The highlights of this are really the way that the game introduces you to individual things, the kind of the amazing art style, the fluidity, and the degree of polish that they added to the various animations and the quality of the game. And then also the uniqueness of their, or I guess not necessarily completely unique, but just I really appreciate greatly the fact that doing well on a fight gives you more than just satisfaction of doing well. Like, it actually rewards you with game mechanics. Didn't want to follow, but it wasn't in the cards. Get him, doggy! That was new. Oh, right! Ha! So, one of the things that I didn't touch on, that this game doesn't do a great job of introducing. So, you know, gloating over how great the game is at introducing things. But it does introduce you that you can press the trigger button and up, and you can heal, but there are actually multiple things you can do with the trigger button based on the direction that you press. And there are other spells. So, let's see if I can remember. There's not a fast. There might be a fast way to change them, but I don't remember what it is specifically. You actually have a variety of spells based on which direction you push when you use the spell button. So that actually is a means that comes up later of the game, allowing you to overcome future obstacles. Is that the game has those different spells, which some of them provides utility that allows you to reach places that were previously inaccessible. I am not a fan of blocking, by the way. The best offense is a good defense. I think I made it through most of my original playthrough without blocking. Which might have helped me in a couple of the boss fights if I had done a better job of blocking. Because there's a lot of attacks that are really devastating. Hey, so now we have a spirit potion. Used when casting a spell when you don't have a sufficient mana. It actually will restore your mana bar when you run out, but they are limited. One of the things that I didn't get to cover too much, and it actually happened during the boss fight, when you run out of health and you have a health potion, you'll actually be restored some amount of health. I don't remember if it's specifically all of it or not. I'm trying to remember. There is this part of the game is where the game really starts to open up, and will introduce you to a lot of new enemy types, and a lot of new puzzles, and a lot of directions that you can go that you may not immediately know how to complete. So there's just, at this point of the game, it gets, I think, really good. I really need to heal. I'm trying to use my focus ability, but I guess I'm not hitting the right button. Yeah, okay, there we go. Focus finisher! While he's blocking. Those enemies, the things I just fought, are actually extremely annoying for most of the game. You get to some points where there are like just harder versions of it. I think the last thing I'll try to do is show just like how good of a job they do with some of these puzzles, where it's not necessarily a complex challenge, but the puzzle itself is how quickly can you move. So one of the great things that I like about this game is that it's really fast-paced, and it actually does a good job with the game of conveying that pace by having a lot of puzzles that require you to move fast as well. So one of the things that would be helpful is getting the enemies out of the way. Clear my path. Not every puzzle allows you to do that either. Like, a lot of times you'll have a puzzle where you need to do it while the enemies are still in your way. Made it! So, you can see there, by using my movements efficiently, I reached that reward. He went a lot further than I was expecting him. So there are a lot of different items you can pick up. Armor is one of the key ones. So you're given Paladin armor, which actually fits into the character approach that I was taking quite well, since it's more strength, more intellect, and then every 6th attack does magic damage, so great upgrade to what we have. But it also changes the number of base combos we have, so you can actually test out. You can see you're only doing 2 attacks now, whereas when you had the armor you were using before, I don't know if I can get to it, it'll actually allow us to do 3 attacks. So, kind of a notion there that there are significant trade-offs between choosing one item over another. But that comes to the end of the time, so I just want to thank you for watching. And if you I definitely encourage anybody that's remotely interested in playing this game to give it a shot. It is very well done, and I give it my full support. So, Valdis story, Abyssal City. This has been 1 hour of game.